We've been talking a lot about the Chicago teachers strike.
Yes, and I actually did 2 interviews with 2 representatives of CTU on our show. So, yeah, it's an ongoing fight. But what's going on, though?
Block Club Chicago, which is a fantastic independent news organization in the city of Chicago, is reporting that yesterday there were teachers marching in the streets, and there were members from the Board of Trade, the Board of Trade building, who were spitting on them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, isn't that lovely?
Well, a way to incite a class war, but also a way to be disrespectful to people who are actually trying to fight for young people so you get a better education. Because let's face it, CTU is being screwed over. Chicago Public Schools are being screwed over. And Chicago has money. We have resources. We have the ability to really deal with the fact that, look, we have money for our schools. It's called the TIF funds. But yet there's a lot of political red tape that's stopping it from happening. And again, it's a disaster. And I'm really kind of getting angry at the fact that, people are being spit on for fighting for children. It's dumb. Why are you doing something so inhumane when what people are striking for is to fight for a better future, for more funding for our schools, more funding for librarians, nurses, social workers, so that all the kids can get a better education? You're just going to spit on the people who are want to fighting. I mean, come on, get out of here.
Well, apparently the week before, the people from the Board of Trade were dropping flyers down on them saying, work full time.
Aha.
No
Work
more
harder, bye. Work harder,
no
bye.
more 17-week vacation. They don't seem to understand how it works to be a teacher. That you might get quote unquote the summers off. Many teachers do work through the summers, working on lesson plans and that sort of thing. But many teachers also have to take additional jobs during the summer if they don't choose to have their paychecks prorated throughout the year. So.
Wow.
This kind of harassment, it's really quite disturbing. And I'm trying to understand what anybody is trying to accomplish with that. And the thing that I keep trying to point out here is, okay, let's say you're doing well working at the Board of Trade. Maybe you're dealing with options or whatnot. You're doing good. I'm going to tell you something. There's somebody out there who's signing your paychecks. You're not signing your own paychecks. Somebody else is signing. That person has a lot more money and a lot more power than you do. And it just may be that one of these days you get sick. There's an accident. Your spouse gets sick. You lose your job. Something happens, and you're going to find yourself in a situation where your kids may have to go to a Chicago public school with no social workers to help them through that, no nurses to oversee the treatment for a medical condition, librarians to guide them. And, if you think that you are so superior to those teachers, I want to remind you, somebody else is signing your check. And that person has a lot more power than you do. And that person may very well be receiving those TIF funds in some investment capacity or another that could be going to our children and our teachers and our schools.
Right. And also I'm seeing in the live stream chat too from Hemsdale Gate, do they have a city union or are they in with the state teachers union? Chicago Teachers Union, you mean? Well, Chicago Teachers Union is the main union that's helping out the teachers, organizing and rallying. When we were there on the first day of the strike, around 32,500 people were in the middle of downtown Chicago striking against Mayor Lightfoot and her administration. Look, Mayor Lightfoot ran on a policy of basically, fighting, wanting to bring a much-needed education reform. And she ran on that. But sadly, she's not. But I'm seeing Daniel here on the mic real quick. You want to add in something too? Daniel, go ahead, buddy.
There we go. What's a really good way to make a strike last longer? Spitting on teachers. It's a really good way to focus people's attention at the wealthy, having the Board of Trade making these actions. So I think it was Laney who said, what do they hope to get out of it? I don't think they hope to get anything out of it. I think that they just spat on people that they felt were lesser creatures, because that's the kind of person you have to be to spit on a group of people fighting for rights. Is you have to say, they're not relevant, I don't care, get out of here, you're ruining my view. So
yeah. One other thing, too. Again, look, why sit on top of a mountain when you're just going to spit on people? I mean, again, these teachers, you hear their stories. They're in classroom size of 60-plus students. They have limited resources. They have to go out and buy school supplies so that they can teach. And you're going to sit up there in your little castle and spit on people who are working and fighting to ensure that the people of Chicago have quality education, that the young people who will be the next standard bearers will be able to fight for a better future and actually lead. Because, we're not going to be young forever. We want to make sure that the next generation gets a quality education. It really says a lot about your humanity and who you are, but I guess we can't really stay on this story too long. It's just, look, CTU strikes, there's a reason why it's happening, and hey, don't back down.
Absolutely, and I would hope that the landlords, whoever the building manager is at the Board of Trade, maybe take some action. This is really disgraceful. It's disgusting.
Yeah, and of course, everyone's in the live stream chat saying, "Spitting on teachers, what's wrong with you?" Welcome to Chicago,
yeah,
guys.
and dropping signs, taunting signs down at them. Yeah, work harder and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay. I hate that. I hate
yeah,
that
and there's
mentality.
clearly a real disconnect between what is good for our community and the attitudes of people who obviously think very well of themselves. There is no community investment here. But as I point out, you're not signing your own paychecks. And when the person who's signing your paychecks decides to screw you over, you might start to feel the pain a little bit.
Yep.